This week on iBN Southeast, we take a look at some of the top plays from North Carolina, South Carolina, and of course the Sunshine State of Florida. They're all on the regional replay, and they're all next here on iBN Southeast. Hey there, high school football fans, and welcome to iBN Southeast. I'm your host, Sam Farber, and there is a lot to talk about. Dallas Jackson from Rivals High will stop by, talk about some of the up-and-coming programs from the state of Florida. But right now, we're going to examine some of the very best plays from Florida and other parts of the Southeast on the regional replay. High, number 55, Glades Central versus Boca Raton. Gold helmets for Glades, and they brought their D for this one. Cravon LeBlanc comes in and blows up the Boca ball carrier. LeBlanc also had 2 picks. Here's Neville Brown coming up with the pick up the ball carrier, and he's going to throw him back down. Looked like a suplex there. Big day for the D, but GC trailed 7-2 at half. When the Raiders need O, they'll go to Will Likely, the junior, likely to take this dump off the distance. 63 yards for the score. Glades Central wins 23-7. Cocoa versus Merritt Island, the junior tailback for Cocoa, Antoine Lee jumps a pile, slips a tackle. He's leaning for the goal line, and he is in. Cocoa's won 2 in a row. Final on this one, 30-3. To the Palmetto State for South Aiken at Spartanburg. Navy and gold for the home team. Spartanburg rusher Deshaun Sims going for the goal line, and he'll drag some defenders to get there. Sims scored twice on his first 3 carries of the game. Later, South Aiken punting, and an unblocked Branch Wilson blocks the punt. He'll also get a big block to help Terry Stewart scoop it and score. Spartanburg wins 33-15. Burns BURNS against undefeated Chase. That changed this weekend. Brandon Littlejohn fires over the middle, finds Darius Ramsey, 24-yard score. Later on, Littlejohn moves to his right, has to roll back to his left, and that's where he'll find Darius Lowe. Points to him, hits him at the 5. Big hit against Lowe, but he is able to withstand it and get into the end zone. Chase wouldn't go down without a fight. To Jay McMullins, hurdles a defender, and he's going to go the rest of the way, 49 yards for the score, but Burns wins it 28-14. Now Burns, BYRNES versus Malden, first play of the game. Shane Samuels is going to pick off this pass at the 32. He's going to navigate the 30-yard line, has some blockers, but with this move coming up right there, he didn't really need him. He's into the house for 6. Burns was up 7-0 before even getting the ball offensively. Speaking of the Rebel offense, Schuler Bentley threw 4 touchdown passes. There's a pair of them as Burns went on to win 56-7. Back to North Carolina, undefeated South Point up against Ashbrook, opening kickoff. Red Raiders returning. This is Devon Robbins from the 5, and he's going to outrun the Green Tide D. Tide appears to be out. 95-yard return for Robbins. He scored 3 times on the night, including this 25-yard run. And look at the moves. I think if you're playing PlayStation, that's L2 plus Turbo. I'm not that good. He is 56-7 the final. In Tennessee, Ensworth, an elite squad, took on Pope John Paul II. Andrew Bowers going deep for Corey Beatty, committed to Vanderbilt. The wide receiver going to be a Commodore. He commandeers the football. That's a nautical term. Goes 59 yards for the score. Ensworth wins 42-7. Last but not least, rivals number 88 Bulls and their massive O-line versus North Marion. Underdogs look good early. Reggie Wilkerson to the top 30 receiver, according to rivals. LaTroy Pittman committed to Florida. He gets into the end zone, but Bulls' ground game was just way too good. Bulldogs have a couple D1 linemen on their squad. 386 yards rushing, and Bulls won 35-7. Spectacular stuff, as always, from the Southeast region. I'm sure there was a top 10 nominee or 2 in there. Make sure you check out iBN Top 10 to see who does crack the list. Now, always number 1 on our list is Dallas Jackson, senior analyst from Rivals High, and he joins us now to talk about the Southeast. One squad that's starting to make some noise again, Dallas, is Bulls out of Florida. It's a national power that was kind of sleeping for a couple years. They're back now. They had another impressive win this week. You saw some of the highlights against North Marion.
Yeah, you know what? Bulls is a team that kind of was flying a little under the radar at the beginning of the season in that 10-15 range in Florida. They've really stepped up their game. They had a big win last week against Fleming Island, and they beat this week North Marion, a team that a lot of folks were high on in the beginning of the year, and they did it very convincingly, 35-7. Bulls is that Jacksonville area team that everybody wants to go and play out of state. They never do, and they always establish their power in their in-state games. That's a team with a very physical offensive line. They like to run the ball, and they have one of the best coaches in America.
In terms of the top team from the Southeast, I know you're very high on Gaffney, but I'll give you a trick question. If Gaffney runs the table, and there's of course always going to be one of those top teams out of Florida doing so in one of the larger divisions, who should get the nod? The best team from Florida, considered by many the best high school football state in the country, or the Gaffney team you like so much?
Well, it's going to depend on how the season plays out. Right now, Gaffney is one of those teams that's in consideration for #1 in the nation. St. Thomas Aquinas out of Florida is also in that discussion. So those two teams would probably be the ones that we have to size up head-to-head. Gaffney's defense is so fast and so physical, it's very hard to overlook that. Their offense might not be as balanced as some of the other teams. That's something that we'll evaluate as the playoff goes on.
Well, the fun part about a question like that, we might get an answer by the end of the year, see how those rankings do play out. Dallas, thanks so much for the time. Look forward to talking to you again next show. And if fans, we have just scratched the surface of those great plays from the Southeast. Check out all the HS60s from Florida and the region. And, of course, the top 10 plays of the week. See if one from your neck of the woods made the top spot. For now, I'm Sam Farber saying thanks for watching iBN Southeast.